So we'll move into the live Q&A session. So you're welcome to unmute yourself or raise your hand. I did see a couple of questions come through in the chat box, so I'll go ahead and ask those questions first while you're thinking. So the first one was that you mentioned that if there is no family income, then the family differential doesn't apply. So who pays for it or what happens to it? Are the daycare centers agreeing to waive it?
That's a great question. So the family fee is the portion that is income-based. And if there is no income, there is no family fee. It is totally based on our income tables. However, the differential is the difference between what CAPS pays and what the provider actually charges, and that differential would remain in place. So the family fee is based totally upon income. The differential is based upon the provider charge. And I hope that answers your question.
Okay, and then second question in the chat box. Now, Paul, I do see your hand is raised. Can someone on unemployment apply for this program?
If they are not currently in an activity, now if they're on unemployment and they're going to school, then certainly yes, they could apply. And anyone can apply, but they are going to need to be in that 24 hours per week activity in order to actually receive CAPS. So if they are in school for that minimum of 12 hours, certainly that may qualify. But if they are not employed and not in school, then most likely they would not qualify for CAPS unless it were a very special circumstance. For example, if the family were in a situation that they were homeless. So in that case, then we would waive the activity requirement, but those are, very, very exceptional cases.
Thank you.
Robin, I want to add real quick that if they are receiving, for example, a work experience, if you have someone that, it's in your program and is receiving work experience, that will count toward the activity requirement. It's not only the traditional class in the sense of maybe a technical college, but if someone is enrolled and receiving training as part of your, plan that you have with that participant, then that will count toward those hours of activity.
Absolutely, that's correct. Thanks, Rosani.
Thank you. So Paul Walters, I see in the chat you're asking if we can share this presentation. We will be sending out a link to this presentation and to some of the resources that were mentioned within a link, so you will receive that. Paul, did you have another question? You want to unmute yourself? Guess not. Okay. Let's see. Now the question is there a listing of affordable daycare for those that may not qualify for assistance?
Yes, there is the site that Patricia shared. Actually, Patricia, would you like to talk about that on the quality rated site?
Yes, thank you. Of course. So in the quality rated website that we shared, families.decal.ga.gov, there is a listing of providers in general. If the family doesn't qualify for CAPS, they can go in there, they can do the research and see what's affordable for them in their area. That is correct, families.decal.ga.gov.
Okay. All right.
And that's actually a filter you can put on the site. There's a box you can check for accepts childcare subsidies. If that box is unchecked, then it'll show all providers.
Okay. Another question, serving a family of 3 on SNAP, 1 adult with 2 children, denied CAPS because income $20,000 for a year. Why would that happen? They stated they are not in school, therefore not eligible, as a family of 3 needed to be making less than $12,000. And I don't know if you can see that in the chat box, or I can read it again.
without being able to see the case, go through the application and see what verifications were provided, I'm not sure I can speak to that 100% adequately. However, I would be happy to look into it in more detail. But what I can tell you, if verifications were not provided timely, if the interview might have been missed, and if the average that they're working is less than 24 hours per week, that might have been the problem. But if you would like to, I can put my email address in the chat. So if you would like to email me that particular information, I'll be glad to look at it.
Okay, her additional comment was all documentation was provided and told income too high. So, okay, and thank you. Okay, any other questions from the group, from the attendees? Feel free to unmute yourself or raise your hand or enter the questions in the chat box.
I have a question. This is Lisa Lane from Lower Chat. And maybe I missed part of the presentation because I had trouble signing on. But where is this, does this come out of each delivery area's regular funding? Or is this a source of funding outside of what we're allocated? Or I missed that part.
Yes, that's an excellent question. This is one of our partners, community partners. They are another state agency that have this program that has solely funds for childcare. And they are now part of our state income-based program list, meaning that all of the participants that receive services under CAPS are considered low income for WIOA Title I regulations, right? And this is a different pot of money, has nothing to do with formula Title I funds. This is just another resource that you have at the local level to provide childcare services, to provide those supportive services.
Okay, so there is no distinction between adult, dislocated worker, or youth then, correct?
No, and all three for all, and this is irrelevant for DW, but for adult and youth, they're both considered low income if you receive a referral from CAP. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. That's an excellent question. Amy or Patricia, can you talk about what will happen if someone gets it's eligible for CAPS, finish their training, gets a wonderful job, and they're still within those 52 weeks time frame?
Sure, I'll be happy to. So if someone does complete their program, they get a job, they have a wonderful new income, during the 52 weeks that they're approved for CAPS, any change in their lives that would cause a negative impact on their CAPS case will not be added to the case. However, when that case comes up for renewal at the end of their 52 weeks, they'll have to report their current income. And at that point in time, it may be that their family fee would go up because that's relative to their income, or if they were over the income limits, then their CAPS case would close. But anything that would cause a negative impact, even if they were laid off of their job, they lost their activity during the 52 weeks, we would continue for continuity of care. We would continue that care through the end of the 52 weeks because we know that that's the most beneficial for the children, and give the parent time to, either find a new activity or make other arrangements if it is, an over income situation. So just to give them some time to think about that. But however, I will say this, if it's something that would be a positive change for them, say they have to take a pay cut for some reason, that family fee would be lowered, they need to report that to us. In all cases, they can report them to us, but especially those because we lower their family fee and they would have to pay less each week.